As we move into a new era where privacy matters more and we have more regulation on how tech companies like Meta/Facebook are using your data, your first-party business data like your customer list and your website pixel activity will become more important than ever. Now, lookalikes is the ultimate lever that you have as a Facebook advertiser to scale your first-party data, but to do this right, you have to be very thoughtful as there's many different ways that you can create lookalike audiences. And if you don't properly test before you start to scale, you could be missing out on hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in missed ROAS performance. So in this video, I will share with you the methodical 3-stage approach to scale lookalike audiences that is working today. So the way that I scale my Facebook ad campaigns for myself and for clients that I work with is using the SPM approach, which is a 3-stage process. The first one being S for source, which is the many different ways that you can build lookalike audiences, which we're going to talk a little bit about in the next slide. There's multiple ways. You can use your existing CRM data, you can use pixel data, you can use platform data. All data signals are not the same. You really need to figure this out first before you go to the second stage of scaling your lookalikes, which is percentage. Starting off with that 1% audience, which is going to match the highest level of common characteristics within your different audiences, and then going, to the 2%, 3%, 4, 5, finding that sweet spot where you can get a balance of conversion ROAS performance and scale. And there's some advanced stuff that you can do with manual bidding strategies there as well, long-term, to make sure that you're profitable, because that's a big challenge a lot of Facebook advertisers face. And I constantly hear you guys talk about that, which is how do I scale but be profitable at the same time too? Now, the third part of the stage is markets. And this part might not apply to every single advertiser. However, if you are a D2C e-com advertiser where you have a product that can scale to multiple markets, you can sell in the United States, in Canada, in the UK, in Australia, Germany, France, that has so much potential to really drive scale and revenue growth through Facebook, because once you've figured out the source of your different lookalike audiences, once you've really nailed down what is the right percentage, you can now start testing it to different markets. And yeah, you might have to do some tweaks to the creative and the copy to make it feel local, but there's infinite possibility. Let's talk a little bit more about the details of bringing this SPM approach to life in the following slide. So source, we touched a little bit upon this. There's different ways you can create your lookalike audiences. And again, at the end of the day, this is the best method for you to drive revenue or leads or whatever action is that you're looking to take on the platform. It doesn't matter across the board. Lookalikes is the way to go. Detailed targeting is your best guess. It's you thinking, what are the interests and behaviors of your audience? Lookalike is you giving data to Facebook and them using their machine learning and their tech to figure out how do they replicate those audiences for you. So these are some different ways that we could do it. You're probably familiar with CRM and pixel data. In-platform data is engagement signals. So you can build lookalike audiences off of people who've watched your video to 100%, which might be very high intent. You can build it off of people who, follow your organic Instagram or Facebook profile. There's a lot of different ways you can build this. The one key thing here to note is that the signal intent quality is going to change. If you are building a lookalike from people who've already purchased from you, that intention, that data fidelity is super high. If you're building a lookalike audience from people who follow your organic profile, that is very low, because someone that follows isn't someone who purchases. That's a different audience. So the idea here is to get to the highest intent audience. However, access to data becomes a big challenge, especially if you are just starting off or in early stages of your Facebook ads maturity, because maybe you do have a customer list, but maybe you don't have enough people in that audience for you to create the highest intent lookalike audience. So what do you do in that situation where there is other options? And I've made, plenty of videos on the topic before, and this is actually something that we go into depth in our hypergrowth ads course and membership. But one detail I'll tell you here is that if you don't have a CRM list ready, but if you have a lot of activity on your website already, one great thing to do is build a custom audience of the top 25% of visitors that have gone to your highest intent pages on your website. So if you're an e-com site, that's going to be your product pages. If you are doing something with lead gen, that might be a pricing page or a contact page. Once you create that custom audience, you can then build a lookalike audience off of that. And hopefully that can help you get some more customers. But eventually you do want to be leaning into that CRM list long term. Now, once you've figured out what is the right type of lookalike audience that performs for you, and obviously you have to test a lot, your CRM audience, your pixel in platform, there's so many different versions that you can build. Once you find the ones that are performing best, now it's time to scale. So part of the framework, we talked about source, so that's the S. SPM, now we're talking about the percentage and the market approaches to scaling. So obviously, after you vet out performance for your lookalike, you want to try a 2%, 3%, 4%, and 5% and figure out where can you get this balance of performance and scale. And you're probably going to see in larger markets like in the United States or the UK that you could build a 1% to 2% and you could get some good scale and performance. In smaller markets, you might need to start with a 2% or a 3% audience. So again, as you start scaling vertically in percentages, and as you start going into new markets, you're going to have to figure out what's going to work in each market. Of course, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to start with just a lookalike 1%, just to make sure that works before you go off the hinges. But it's so essential that you don't start expanding geographically to other countries before you figure this stuff out in your main key market first. So hopefully this framework has given you an idea of what is the right approach. First, start with creating different sources of lookalikes, figure out what's the right one or what are the right combinations, then move to going up in the percentages, and then go to different markets. Now, I quickly want to give you an example of how I've done this for a new campaign that I've been launching recently. But before we get into that, I have a quick message for you. Having a lookalike ad strategy to scale is essential, but there has been so much change recently with Facebook ads. And in our latest Facebook ads guide, we arm you with the key insights and 5 key action steps that you can take today to maximize your ROAS. So go ahead and pause the video for 2 seconds and follow the link below in the description to grab our guide for free. And while you're enjoying this video, as I know you are, make sure to give us a thumbs up. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a recent campaign that I launched for the Facebook ads guide that you just saw some information about. And what I did was I've been spinning up different variations of lookalike audiences to really understand which one is performing. And I'm going to show you the CPLs, which ones are driving leads, which ones are not. But I want to take you through the methodology of how I started with this. So the first audience I launched was a lookalike 1% of website users who previously submitted a lead for a separate landing page that I had created for the Hypergrowth Ads membership program. And what I said to myself was anybody that submitted a lead for that, because it's related to Facebook, would likely also be interested in a Facebook ads ebook for ecom. So that's the first audience that I created. And if you see here on the right, it's getting the most amount of spend. And if you've done some advertising on Facebook below, you know that whatever's getting the most spend is probably working the best. However, since then, I've spun up 3 other versions of campaigns of ad sets, audiences, different versions of lookalikes that I've wanted to test. And the second one here that you're seeing is one that I created off of people within my email list who were clicking on content related to the Hypergrowth Ads, Facebook ads membership. And the whole idea here was, again, if you clicked and you were interested, there's some level of intent there. So I took that CRM list and built a lookalike audience. Now, another one I created recently is a custom audience of people who have submitted their information for the ebook. So in my mind, this is this should be the ultimate audience. And also for some nuance, this first audience I created here also has some of this data. It actually has data from people who submitted for the Facebook ads ebook and people who submitted for the Hypergrowth Ads Facebook course. So again, similar audience. They're both submitting their information for, and I'm tagging that as a lead in my backend within the Facebook pixel. So it's pulling a similar audience within a similar intent. And then the last one here is a separate highly engaged audience I have in my CRM list that tends to engage with a lot of Facebook content. All right, let's go and look at performance. Remember, this is still stage one, which is finding the right type of lookalike audience. So if I go to the right and look at leads, what I'll notice is the first lookalike audience I built is the one that's giving me the most amount of leads and is getting me the cheapest cost per lead. So if I was ready to scale today, what I would want to do, maybe starting next week, is now build a 2% lookalike and a 3% lookalike in the market I'm advertising right now, which is the United States. Now, if I start to see good performance with those and I'm happy with that, but I'm ready to scale further, then I go to stage 3 of the SPM framework, which is markets. I start creating a separate audience in the UK, a separate one in France, in Canada, and I try to see if I can replicate success in those other markets as well. The biggest challenge that Facebook e-com advertisers are facing today is the decline in conversion performance because of iOS 14. Most advertisers are still running campaigns like it's 2021, but the few e-com advertisers who are evolving are driving profitable sales, and they're doing so for one main reason, because they're now building Facebook campaigns in service of the algorithm. Now, a few years ago, you could see phenomenal Facebook ad success with minimal targeting and creative investment. But with measurement challenges and rising CPM prices, you can expect to scale your business profitably by doing the bare minimum. Now, if you don't feel fully confident in your current Facebook ad strategy, then I recommend checking out our Hypergrowth Ads membership. In my opinion, this is the fastest way to develop a high-converting Facebook ad strategy and drive results that are gonna make you feel excited about your business. I'm so confident that this program will improve your understanding of how to create campaigns that generate e-com sales, that I back it up with 100% money-back guarantee. With the Hypergrowth Ads membership, you get instant access to exclusive video content with strategy, frameworks, and best practices that are working today. In addition, you also get an invite to the Market and Hustle Discord group, where I frequently share real-time ad resources, and members are there to connect with each other to support each other with real-time insights on Facebook performance. And we've had hundreds of people sign up for our early access list, and some have already joined the program. So let's hear what a few of them had to say.
It's very intensive, and it really helped me to understand how the social media marketing actually works and how to build this sales funnel using content marketing and ad strategies.
After going through a course and discussing with Zaryn and watching some of his videos, the way he's able to combine strategy and tactics into one is very unique. There's very few individuals who have such a structured and simple and down-to-earth approach to social media.
I definitely recommend the course. It's amazing, it's easy, it's quick, and it's really simple to understand. So
Hypergrowth Ads comes with 100% 30-day money-back guarantee to ensure that there is absolutely no risk on your part at all. Increase your confidence in Facebook e-com ads approach, or have every single cent back. Now, if this interests you and you want to increase your Facebook ads revenue growth this year with a clear step-by-step program, then follow the link in the description to find out more about Hypergrowth Ads. Either way, I've hoped you've enjoyed this video, and if you do join Hypergrowth Ads, I look forward to seeing you inside.